Okay, ladies, I'm hoping you can all hear me. We've had a few technical difficulties because of the wild weather that's happening. Internet's been dropping in and out, mics have been stopping working. I guess it's all character building, so they say. So, have no idea if you can actually hear me or not. Hoping you can. I've decided to stream it live to Facebook because we've had to create a new link because the original link, because we tested it so many times because of the weather, and it decided it was ended and then we don't have the link. So I've put it live on Facebook for you all to listen to. You will of course get a recording of this. So if you miss it live right now, don't stress because you will have the opportunity to ask me as million questions as you want and listen to the recording. But let's not waste any more time because I know your time is precious. So let's get straight into it. So thank you so much for joining me if you are here, if you have managed to come in live. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really excited and honoured to be sharing this information with you, and I really do hope that it's beneficial in some ways. So if you are here, simply by showing up, and especially the people that did attempt to show up, because I know you were there were lots of names there. By showing up, you have just alone, you've set an intention out to the world that you mean business when it comes to addressing your health and in particular taking responsibility for your own healing journey. So good on you, that's powerful stuff. So this webinar is about empowering women who have been at the mercy of devastating pain and horrible menstrual cycles since puberty or since having kids or entering a different hormonal phase of their life when things started to go wrong with their periods. And my aim is to show you how you can get back in charge of your hormones and turn this debilitating condition around. I want to also add, this information will be helpful for anyone who has period pain of any sort. So not just the ones who have actually been formally diagnosed with endometriosis, because the reality is this is a silent disease. So in other words, there's huge amounts of women out there riddled with endometriosis who don't even know about it because it's not an easy condition to diagnose. It requires surgery and specialized imaging techniques such as MRIs to identify the endometriosum growing outside of the uterus. So there are heaps of women suffering in silence. And the most heartbreaking thing about that is that women are told to just suck it up and get on with it because apparently period pain is normal. Well, it's not normal. It's common, but it's definitely not normal. There's a big, big difference. So remember, pain is a signal that something is going wrong within your body. It's a sign that you have some hormonal imbalance going on and it shouldn't be happening. Pain doesn't just occur randomly. It's always your body's way of communicating with you that something is going wrong. We live in such a man's world, so to speak, in this day and age, and that sort of says that it's unacceptable to talk about our periods, it's unacceptable to talk about pain to our partners in the workplace, and so women just continue to suffer in silence, throwing back all the pain medication we can get our hands onto, and when we go and see our GP, often the response we're met with is things like, well, it's normal, maybe you can try the oral contraceptive pill, or other synthetic hormone replacement therapies like injections or implants or rods, Mirenas, which sadly just contributes even further to one of the major reasons why we have period pain and endometriosis in the first place, and that's because of estrogen dominance. Now, estrogen dominance is the build-up of chemical-based synthetic versions of estrogen that mimics our natural estrogen, but has a much more dramatic and damaging effect on the body. Now, don't get me wrong, these medications, pain relieving and oral contraceptive pills and stuff like that, they definitely have their place. But the issue is when you're using them to purely ease your pain or just suppress the normal hormonal cycle, which a lot of women use the pill for, it's basically just putting a blanket over the problems at the bottom surface, and that's really, really dangerous because it's just covering up the disharmony that's going on at that cellular level, which is ultimately leading to the hormonal imbalance in the first place. And that's dangerous. And that's where we're putting ourselves at risk for things like breast cancer, autoimmune disorders, infertility, and other chronic inflammatory diseases associated with hormone imbalance. So a big part of my mission for treating endometriosis is to help women to find a balance between something that provides a quick relief and long-term safety. Our approach has to be safe and it has to be sustainable in the long run. And that's why I'm going to show you the key steps you need to take, which will actually open up your body's ability to do what it does naturally, and that's to heal itself. So before we get into it, something that I really want to emphasize is that this webinar is about more than just showing you how to physically heal your body of endometriosis or painful periods. It's about empowering women who have been victim to the devastating pain to step out of their normal day-to-day approach, step out of their normal daily thoughts and beliefs surrounding endometriosis, and look wider and further than what you've been told about the outcomes and the statistics and the beliefs surrounding endometriosis from your doctors and your specialists. And that's being that endometriosis is an incurable disorder. So hold on to your seats, ladies. I guarantee you some of the info I'm about to share will get you thinking. It may rustle a few feathers, but definitely in a good way. Because personal growth occurs when we expand ourselves, when we step out of our comfort zone, because as we all know, that's where the magic happens. So, as you can see, this is me. What led me to this webinar? You can see me up in the top right hand corner. That's me on an airport in Spain when I was traveling back in 2009 in excruciating pain with period pain, which used to happen to me every 17 to 21 days. I was getting heavy flooding periods back then before I'd sorted out my hormones. But, I didn't want to let period pain and hormonal imbalances ruined my life. I wanted to travel, I wanted to have fun, I wanted to do everything that everyone else did. So that was definitely a big part of why I obviously did all the study that I did. I have the usual boring credentials. I graduated with a double degree in naturopathy and nutrition, I have a Bachelor of Health Science, and I've studied heaps of other healing modalities along the way. But I guess my personal story is, I've experienced everything and anything that you could have gone wrong hormonally, from adrenal fatigue, underactive thyroid resulting in me putting on 8 kilos in 12 weeks and my eyebrows falling out. I used to get hot flushes. I used to have hormonal cystic acne on my back, painful heavy periods. I had irregular pap smear results, painful intercourse, miscarriages, migraines, even had a burst cyst on my ovary. So, I had it all, I've experienced it all, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to a lot of that stuff. Because, as you can imagine, that journey, that pain that I wanted to move away from is what spurred me into studying and researching and attending webinar after webinar and doing lots of specific training around women's health, so that I could get a really good understanding of what was occurring in my body. And as a result, I was able to heal myself. Even though I was told by doctors that I'd started menopause at the time, that I'd probably never have, conceived naturally. But, the great news is I got through it and I healed myself. I'm in great health now. I don't have any issues with my periods, no PMS. Well, I don't think I have any PMS. Maybe you need to ask my partner. But, it's all hormonally, things are effortless for me at this point now. So, and I use the Balance Me healing system, the 7-step process that I'm going to share with you. I pretty much guinea pigged it on myself. So, yeah, that's what I want to share with you today. But my real driving force behind sharing this webinar, and in particular choosing to specialize in endometriosis, is much bigger than the fact I believe this healing system I created can heal your body. It's because I see there's a far bigger problem that's going on surrounding endometriosis. And this problem is what's inevitably preventing women from healing and sentencing women to a lifetime of unnecessary suffering. And that problem is the constant message which we're being told, which is being shared by the medical authorities, that there is no cure for endometriosis. Because the reality is, by science standards, doctors have not yet found a cure for endometriosis. There's no pharmaceutical drug that can magically make the endometrial tissue go away. And within the medical treatment, when you're having surgery, everyone's told that it'll most likely grow back within time. So by their treatment approaches, there's no cure to endometriosis. And so that message that's being drummed into these already vulnerable women who are exhausted, depleted, and completely, lost because of their constant chronic pain and the uncertainty that they're faced with surrounding their fertility, are being further diminished and their spirits broken due to that one perception of a condition, leaving them scared, miserable, and completely trapped within their diagnosis. I believe that endometriosis can be beaten, and I believe that women with endo can end the pain and suffering. So with that being said, I want you to know that you have a choice. You can choose to become your illness. You can choose to let endometriosis define you and believe there is no cure and therefore remain stuck within it for the rest of your life. Or you can choose to shift your perception, take a different approach, and see where that takes you. So, how's that for a big fat truth bomb in your face right there? First up, I've definitely thrown some different perspectives at you there. Hopefully, I haven't styled you too much with that new look of approach. I just want you to be open to hearing the things I'm saying and seeing where you're going. So, I guess now that I've opened that can of worms, we need to explore belief systems in a bit more detail because I really want you to get thinking about how we can shift your perspective. Now, especially if what I've just said has made you feel uncomfortable. Because before I share with you the exact 7-step process to healing endometriosis, there's another super important aspect to healing that we cannot ignore. Because I truly believe that you can implement all the physical healing techniques in the world, change your diet, take your herbal and pharmaceutical prescription medications, have surgery, or whatever it is that you do. But if you don't address the emotional component to your condition, you will never be able to heal completely. And this emotional aspect to healing is all based around your thoughts, your beliefs, and your attitude to healing. So, I want to ask you a couple of questions, and they are going to be confronting, and I certainly don't mean to be confronting, but we need to ask yourself these questions so we can get a proper understanding of what are your beliefs around healing. So, firstly, are your current beliefs surrounding endometriosis serving you? Do you really want to heal your body of endometriosis? What security does having endometriosis diagnosed provide you, as in how do you benefit from having the condition? And lastly, are you willing to try something new? Now, I know those answers seem really, really obvious on the surface, and I promise you I'm not just trying to be a smartass here. I'm asking these questions because we really need to understand what your beliefs are at that subconscious level if we're going to make the connection between our thoughts and healing. The power of the subconscious mind is huge. It's said that we do 98% of our daily activities controlled by our subconscious thoughts. So these are the automatic things that are just occurring all day, every day, things that are happening without us even realizing. So things that control our breathing, our sleeping, digesting food, all that sort of stuff. So just to give you an example of what I mean by it, have you ever been driving in your car, for example, on your way home from work, and you're a bit zoned out, you're completely blocked out, you're thinking of a million and one other things other than actually driving that car, and next thing you find yourself at home in the driveway and you're like, oh, I don't even really remember driving home, but you've managed to safely navigate your way through all the traffic lights and the different road signs and whatever. And that's because you were still thinking about driving, your body was still doing it safely, but it was taken, that part of it was controlled by your subconscious thoughts, the programs that you already know while you're off wandering thinking about what you want to cook for dinner or what happened at work for the day. So that's just to give you an example of how powerful our subconscious thought is. So you can imagine just how much of an impact our subconscious thoughts have on us from day to day. So if you're constantly ticking over in your mind, I'm never going to heal, this is incurable, I'm stuck with it for life, what am I going to do? That is always going to be your reality because they're the thoughts. We know that thoughts precede action, okay? And that's why you're able to drive the car without even realizing it. So have a good think about what are your belief systems surrounding endometriosis. Okay, imagine how much of an impact it is on our body if we truly believe, even subconsciously, that endometriosis is incurable. If you believe I'll be in pain for the rest of your life, then pretty much that's what's going to be happening. So look, the field of the mind in itself is huge. We don't have time to cover this fully because I could talk about it for hours and hours, but I truly believe if you don't have an attitude that is supportive of healing, if you cannot grasp the power of your mind and how your everyday thoughts is shaping and creating your everyday reality, then that, my dear, is the first hurdle you must overcome before you can heal your body. And I truly, truly believe you can rid your body of endometriosis. And that's what I really, really want for you. So my message here is we are our thoughts. Remember that one. So why endo? Why me? Now this is a really, really important question on your healing journey because here's where I'm going to implement a little bit more tough love. I know I'm being pretty tough, but I promise you my intention is purely coming from a place of love and compassion. Remember, I've been there myself in pain, suffering, thinking, why me? This is not fair. Why do I have to be the one that gets acne? Why do I have to be the one that gets my period every 17 days? I've been there as well thinking, this is not fair. Why did I have to get this condition? So when I offer you this perspective, just remember it's purely to ensure that you have the right attitude to healing so that you can have a chance at healing your endometriosis. So what we must understand is that endometriosis, it is a lifestyle disease. I know the medical authorities will tell you that you can't do anything to prevent it and it's kind of just genetics and bad luck if you end up with it. But yes, absolutely, genetics play a part in it, but ultimately, endometriosis developed in response to your daily lifestyle choices, your thoughts, your overall health, and we can't really blame our genes anymore because there's so much research out there in epigenetics which has proven that even our genes and whether or not we express them is influenced directly by our environment. So our stress levels, our daily exposure to toxins, the hours of sleep we get per day or per night, the amount of love in our life, the amount of joy and happiness in our life, the amount of antioxidants in our diet, and so on. So what that means is that, if a condition runs in your family, like breast cancer, for example, and one generation after another keep getting this condition and there's this genetic predisposition for it, if everyone in that genetic predisposition lived a similar sort of life exposed to the same sort of things, of course that gene's going to keep expressing itself. But the reality is if you make a change to your environment, to your thoughts, to your beliefs, to your diet, to your exercise, to your sleep, to your stress levels, all those things, you control whether or not that gene expresses itself. So you can break the genetic cycle. So we can't use genes as our excuse anymore. The medical industry claim there is no cure, there is no prevention, and we don't know what causes it. It's all too disheartening. It's really not very empowering. But I believe there are multiple underlying conditions which lead to the growth of endometrial tissue in the places they shouldn't be. So, around outside the uterus, around the bowel, everything. And these things are things that I've discovered through lots and lots of research. A lot of it is scientifically backed. It's just not necessarily known in the medical industry, and these things are estrogen dominance. So this is what I touched on briefly, those synthetic versions of estrogen that we're drinking in our waterways every day if you're not drinking filtered water, because the amount of women on oral contraceptive pill and then their body's metabolizing it out and urinating it into our waterways. So we've got men and women drinking estrogen in our water supply, underlying low-grade infections through the body, inflammation in the body, nutritional deficiencies, excess toxicity in the body, poor digestive function, autoimmune conditions and processes within the body, the MTHFR gene mutation, stress, emotional heartache, and unresolved feelings of disappointment, insecurity, and frustration. They're three things that are common among women. That's been proven and it's been researched, and that's been found out by Louise Hay. In women with endometriosis have those same three unresolved feelings of disappointment, insecurity, and frustration. So, I wonder if any of that resonates at all, whether you feel that you do find yourself trapped in those feelings every now and then. So these are the things that I believe ultimately are causing the endometriosis in your body. Now, I'm not saying this to say, well, there you go, it's your fault you got endometriosis because you've got all these under things. But the reality is all those things that I just listed are caused by the way we live our life, the things we expose ourselves to, or the lack of self-care that we choose to put ourselves through in terms of our day-to-day rituals and self-care regime. I'm not saying it to blame you for the fact that you've got endometriosis or tell you that it's all your fault. I'm sharing this because this is what will set you free. Because when you own it as your own creation, when you can see where your lifestyle choices have contributed to your health, that's when you can take back your power. That's when you have the ability to make changes, to create new beliefs, to turn things around, and ultimately that's when you're able to heal your body. So that's a powerful thing to be able to step up and go, well, okay, maybe some of my choices have led to the reason why I developed endometriosis. It wasn't just bad luck, maybe. So I know that may trigger you, and if it does, just ask yourself why. Why does that trigger me so much for me to have to maybe step up and take some responsibility for why I've got endometriosis? Because like I said, until you take responsibility, you can't really get in and make a difference. It's the answer to that question as to why it's triggered you is ultimately what's going to unlock your body's ability to heal from endometriosis. So just really sit with that. Even if right now it feels too hard, just think about it for the next few days. Because when your core belief is that endometriosis is incurable and endometriosis can't be prevented, all these extremely self-limiting statements, you are then selling yourself to the devil. You're sentencing yourself to a lifetime imprisonment, to a condition that I've actually seen women heal themselves from. So why can't that be you too? It's by a simple shift in your perception. So that's pretty powerful stuff. So, if you want to explore more about those topics I've just chatted about, in particularly the emotional links to endometriosis and also all that stuff about genetics and breaking the genetic code, have a look at the book The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton, or like I said, the Louise Hay's book You Can Heal Your Life. They're both pretty simple, easy reading, and they're definitely something to look into if that sort of stuff fascinates you and you don't just want to take my word for it. All right, so look, if everything I've just said so far is already too overwhelming and too confronting, of course we have the traditional treatment options available, and that being things like surgery, and of course the using medications like the oral contraceptive pill and a few other new ones they're developing that they give to women with endometriosis. Of course, those options are available. It's just that unfortunately, those options do come with side effects. Okay, medications come with side effects, and I'm definitely not anti-surgery or anti these medications. There are definitely many situations where it is going to be quicker and easier to go in and have that surgery to basically speed up your recovery. But you just have to understand that, of course, there's risks associated with surgery. Sometimes it can lead to a lot of scar tissue within your organs, and of course, that can lead to infertility and stuff like that. So it's just that you need to know that you have other options. Surgery and medication aren't your only options, and that's the only reason why I'm giving you these broader things. Definitely surgery and these medications have a place. And if you're in pain, absolutely you need to be taking pain relief medication. No one has to live with pain, but they're just not sustainable approaches in the long run. Taking pain relief medication frequently, for 2-3 days at a time when you've got your period, it's going to burden your body in the long run, and that's what we want to avoid. Like I said, my mission is safe, sustainable, long-term treatment options to endometriosis. So, with the information I'm presenting, I'm just giving you an opportunity to broaden your approach to implement these additional steps, which you can do to complement the surgery and the medication, or you may go off and do them completely on their own outside of, and choose not to have surgery. But you just need to know that you have the option. Because endometriosis affects 10% of women within their reproductive years. So that's millions and millions of women worldwide and that's just the ones that have been diagnosed, remember, that have endometriosis. So the issue here and the reason why I need you to be thinking long term and more widely spread than just treatment right here right now in terms of pain relief and surgery, and then fronting up for surgery again 12 months later, then again 12 months later, is because endometriosis is more than just the pain that you're experiencing, as I'm sure some of you already know, because it comes with severe long-term health risks, and that includes infertility, also associated with irritable bowel syndrome. Most women have that. A lot of women have anxiety and depression issues going on, including suicidal thoughts. You also have a much higher tendency towards chronic infections, autoimmune conditions such as fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, lupus, and unfortunately you do have an increased risk of cancers of the reproductive organs. So this is why your approach to endometriosis should be more about healing it for good, not just managing it day to day. So what do you want your reality to be? I want you to heal, not just because it's horrible being laid upon the couch every month, but because your quality of life is by far the most important factor through this. And, having endometriosis for the rest of your life until you finish your reproductive years is not a good quality of life. So if you do not take a holistic, proactive approach to healing your body, in its entirety, sadly, things are only going to get worse. And yes, you have the option to have a full hysterectomy once you finish having children in order to stop the pain. But the truth is there are hundreds of women who have done that, but they still experience excruciating pain, because we know that endometrial tissue grows beyond just the uterus. It also grows around the bowel and the bladder and all those places as well. There's even been cases of endometrial tissue being found in women's brains. So just cutting out your uterus isn't a long-term plan of attack. So here's just a quick testimony. This is a really awesome chick called Nicole who I worked with. She's a mother of 3, and she was in excruciating pain every single month. and she had other complications, including uterus prolapse and all the usual digestive stuff, emotional stuff that went through it, month-long PMS. And she went through the 7 healing steps with my guidance, and she has confessed that she's a new woman now, and she's really, really helpful to have gone through. So, and she got the results within 3 months, completely eradicated her pain, and, she's really, really grateful for the fact. So that's really beautiful for me. I love seeing women who have been able to heal themselves through this system. It's really, really exciting. So, yes, every single person's case is different, but, these steps can be applied to anyone and everyone. So that includes you as well. You're not exempt from the beautiful side effects. So I think it's time to get into the 7 steps. I've talked enough for you, but I just really need to make all that stuff clear to you. I want to make this clear as well. I'm not claiming that natural medicine is going to cure your endometriosis. The natural holistic approach to healing involves assessing the individual system to find the imbalances, the deficiencies, the impurities, the dysfunctions, all those causes that I just mentioned earlier, and then working to put these back together, put them back into place with using safe, natural, plant-based therapies so that your system as a whole can function properly. And then your body can start to heal itself, because healing is an inbuilt mechanism that your body can do perfectly if there are no obstacles in the way interfering with that process. So just like if you cut your finger, it heals right. We don't really give it much thought, it just heals. We know our finger's going to cut if it's not too deep, and we just put a band-aid on and off it goes. We don't give it a thought. That's an inbuilt mechanism that our body knows how to do. And it's exactly the same with your endometrial growth. Your body can heal that. You just need to have all the resources to do so. And this is the 7-step process designed to clear out those obstacles that are getting in the way of the healing. Natural medicine does not cure endometriosis. Natural medicine simply balances and heals the body so that your body can heal the endometriosis. Okay, so here we are. Step 1. The first step is to cleanse the colon. Now, the reason it is said that every single human being has about 2 kilos of toxic waste bulked up within their colon and their bowel. And that, of course, leads to things like headaches, fatigue, aching joints, food intolerances, brain fog, mood disorders, acne, constipation, skin rashes, and weight gain. So I want you to think of this analogy. So consider your body's a fish tank, and it's got live fish swimming around it. And, of course, you've got the lovely plants in there that the fish live off and help make the oxygen in the water and all that sort of stuff. But the fish tank gets dirty, and we have to clean that fish tank out, right? Now, you can't just come along and pour new clean water into the fish tank. First, you have to come through and clean out all the bad stuff, and that's what it's like with your body. You have to go through and cleanse the colon and the bowel and get rid of all that gunk that's congested up in there, because that junk is constantly, your bowel and colon, your bowel in particular is very permeable, which means anything in the bowel just is constantly moving in and out into our bloodstream. So it's like your body's just constantly drowning in toxicity if we don't have a clear, cleansed colon. So to clear and cleanse the colon, now the things that can cause that, just to give you more ideas, is overusing protein shakes, environmental pollutions we're breathing in, the use of synthetic hormones like the pill, having sluggish digestion and not actually eliminating your bowels 2 to 3 times a day, eating far too many animal products, processed foods in general, having not enough exercise in your daily routine, which can make the body slow and sluggish, too many medications, parasites, and even the use of just crappy synthetic vitamins and minerals that we think we're doing the right thing was and getting them from our health food stores and our chemists. They're just excess junk that our liver has to process. So they're all the things that will cause that toxicity. So what you need to do to cleanse your colon is definitely look into colon hydrotherapy. That's an amazing way to flush out the colon. Home enema kits, I know they're daunting, but they're really not once you get your head around them, but it is the best way to flush. Or then, of course, you can do internal bowel cleansing protocols using things like psyllium husks and bentonite clay and herbs and psyllium husks and all these really, really cool things. So there are multiple ways to cleanse the colon, but it is your number 1 step, and until you've done that, you will not progress any further. Here's some images here of gunk that has come out of people's colons and intestines, and it's not very nice, as you can see, and that's really, really common. Like I said, the average person has about 2 kilos of just hard, stale, undigested mucus, plaque, undigested food, hardened feces. It's really charming, I know, so we'll move on. Okay, step number 2, you must eradicate the underlying infection going on within your body. All women with endometriosis, in my experience, have some kind of an underlying systemic infection going on in their body or through their digestive system. So that could be something as simple as a candida overgrowth. It could be a viral infection that you've had, even a viral infection that you had when you were a kid, or maybe you're just someone that gets cold sores. It could be bacterial overgrowth, known as dysbiosis, super, super, super common. Most of us have got that. Or it could, of course, be parasites, which again are far more common than we think. They lead to the same sort of things when they're going on your digestive system. It leads to toxicity with it, disturbed digestive system, adrenal stress, inflammation, an underactive thyroid system. It compromises your immune system. It leads to poor gut microflora, so too much bad bacteria leads to not enough good bacteria. Also dramatically affects our mood. We've got all this imbalanced toxicity going on through our digestive system. So the things that you have to do to eradicate that is a bit more specialized. You probably want to get some help with a qualified naturopath or other therapist, but antimicrobial herbs and nutrients to go in and flush them out. Now, depending on what actually you've got will determine which actually herb or nutrient you choose to be most specific to that actual specific infection. So you can have tests done, especially if you suspect you have parasites. You can do stool samples through your GP, through your doctors. There's a few different things you can do to investigate, but again, you have to treat that infection. And even if you think, no, I'm fine, I don't have an infection, if you've got endometriosis, I guarantee you, you've got some kind of infection going on with your system. So make sure you do step number 2. So once you cleanse your colon and eradicate that infection, I guarantee you, you are going to have far more vitality. You're going to have far more just zest for life. Your brain will be clearer. That brain fog will be gone. You're going to have less bloating. You're not going to have that 6 months pregnant look feeling going on when even though you're not pregnant. So it'll clear up your skin. So this is why you're going to get far more benefits than just, healing your endometriosis. It's going to make you healthier and feel better and more enjoyable life as a whole. Okay, step number 3, heal the gut. Now, leaky gut's a pretty wide known phenomenon now, and it's definitely occurring in women with endometriosis and period pain. And that's occurring because of things like overuse of medications, eating really inflammatory foods like too much gluten in our diet, too much refined sugar in our diet, too much alcohol in our diet, too much coffee in our diet, all the good things, of course. And of course, when you've got a leaky gut, it leads to the same sort of stuff: hormonal imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, inflammation, toxicity, a weakened immune system, poor cellular signaling. Now, cellular signaling plays a huge, huge, huge role in healing your body. Our cells are constantly talking to each other all day, every day. And if that gets compromised because there's all this toxicity going on in the body, then the cells can't heal themselves because they don't know what they're supposed to be doing in the first place. They don't know what healed feels like anymore. So healing the gut is definitely a crucial step to this process. And the way we do that, now what happens when you've got a leaky gut, just to fill you in a bit more there, is it's the tight gap gut junctions, the cells start to spread apart, and that's where undigested proteins can start to slip through into your bloodstream from the gut that shouldn't be there. So of course that mounts an immune response because your immune system identifies things that shouldn't be in the blood, and it starts secreting all the normal histamines and all those usual immune chemicals to kill this foreign body. And then that can lead to signs of itching, scratching, sneezing, headaches, or your typical allergy responses, skin rashes and stuff like that. So healing the gut's super, super important. So you might already be able to identify the fact that, oh yeah, I get some of these symptoms as well, along with your endometriosis. Now, to heal the gut, you need to implement anti-inflammatory healing things like aloe vera juice, manuka honey, nutrients like glutamine, and herbs like slippery elm, ginger, turmeric, amazing things. So drinking tonics like that are really, really good, and adding those superfood formulas into your diet. But of course you have to remove all the nasties that are causing the irritation as well, or else it's kind of going to be like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Think of your digestive system like a bucket, and your goal would be to fill that bucket with water. But unfortunately, if you've got leaky gut, you've got a crack in your bucket. So here you are, filling your body full of this nice filtered water or nice healthy food, but if you haven't healed your gut first, it's all going to leak out. Okay, so this is why I even put a lot of my clients on the gut healing protocol before I even give them nutrients to supplement to, vitamins if they're lacking in, because again, if they're not absorbing them properly, it's a waste of time. Step number 4 is to address your adrenals. Now, adrenal exhaustion is really, really common in this day and age because we all live such a fast-paced life with, the ability to run everything from our phone and to fly from state to state and country to country pretty effortlessly these days. We are just doing so much more. We're putting so much more on our to-do list, and it's leading to signs of adrenal dysfunction or so, and that's going to be things like, insomnia, anxiety, weight gain, poor immune system, hair loss, sweaty palms, sore weak muscles, and energy levels that are going up and down, irregular periods, sugar cravings. There's literally hundreds of things that can occur if you've got an adrenal dysfunction. The main thing going to be lack of energy. So, assess yourself where you're at in terms of your adrenals, and then to overcome that, because your adrenal glands, they play a huge, huge role in healing. The same deal with our cells. So think of your adrenal glands like two little soldiers that sit on top of your kidneys, and they're just constantly monitoring your internal environment, trying to keep everything in check, trying to make sure that the heart's pumping at the right rate, that your blood's the right pH, that you've got the right amount of fluid in your body. Like literally hundreds of things, hundreds of normal processes that occur in our body. Your adrenal glands is just monitoring, keeping it all in check. And then if something drops below, the adrenal glands secrete some adrenaline or cortisol or other different hormones to basically kick something back into place to increase it up. So if you're doing things to constantly stress your adrenals, like having lots of late nights, having lots of alcohol, lots of toxic behavior, not getting enough sleep, having too much sugar, you've got a lot of stress in your life, those little adrenal glands are just on high alert all day, every day. And when your adrenal glands are on high alert in that stress mode, it's pretty much like you're running a marathon all day, every day. That depletes you, and it throws the rest of our hormones out of balance because your adrenal hormones start secreting far too many hormones of what they shouldn't be. And because every hormone affects every other hormone in the body, it just throws out the balances of everything in general. So eventually, when your adrenals are out of whack, you end up with, progesterone, estrogen being out of whack, or your thyroid being out of whack, which further contributes to the painful periods of the endometriosis. So the only way to restore your adrenals, it takes time, it's a slower process, but you have to start getting enough sleep. You have to start resting. You have to implement mindful techniques so you are stopping and taking time up, making sure you've got enough hobbies, making sure you are doing enough things that it's good for the soul, that are feel-good things. You definitely have to take, adaptogenic herbs, and there's lots of those out there like withania and Siberian ginseng and rhodiola and romania. Restorative nutrients like zinc, magnesium are really good ones for the adrenals. Licorice is another herb that's amazing for the adrenals, drinking licorice tea. But it's changing your lifestyle. It's not just as simple as taking a supplement, because there's usually a few things going on. So changing your lifestyle, slowing down, seeing a counselor or a therapist if you feel you need to, if stress is getting on top of you. But the point is, do something, because put yourself first, make yourself a priority, make the changes you need to until you actually run yourself truly into the ground. Step 5 is about loving your liver and detoxing the body. Now, that analogy I used earlier about your body being like a fish tank, a dirty one, think of your liver as that new brand spanking flash filter that you would purchase and put in that fish tank so that you don't have to manually clean it every single month. If your liver is working properly, it's constantly filtering your blood, constantly cleansing your blood, constantly eliminating toxins. Now, the unfortunate reality is that we just live in a world in this day and age that is more and more polluted than ever with just advances in industrials and the amount of traffic that's on the road and buildings and stuff like that. And these are things that aren't avoidable. They're not necessarily bad things. That's what just comes with progress, but it's coming at a cost to our health. We are being exposed to far many more toxins. Other things that put toxins in our body is going to be just even our daily beauty care regime, the things we're putting on our skin and our hair and our perfumes day in, day out. Those things all eventually end up inside our body. Whatever you put on your skin permeates through into your body. So all those are usual things, your medication use, eating processed foods, diets high in animal proteins. So there's nothing wrong with eating animal proteins and fats like meats and dairy products, but we absolutely overconsume them as a whole. We're eating them far more than what our prehistoric ancestors ever used to back in the paleo era. So it's just all these things are contributing. It's all building up. None of these one things is toxic right then and there on the spot. That's going to be, deadly dangerous to us. But it's the accumulation of all these different avenues that we're exposed to that's building up in our systems. Our liver's becoming clogged. We're not filtering our blood anymore. So then our body is just overloaded with toxins. Our cells are drowning in toxins and chemicals. And then that cell can't do what it's meant to do, which is renew itself, heal itself, renew itself. And that's the same with that endometrial tissue. So I truly believe that we all need to be doing some form of liver detoxification program at least once a year because of the way we live our lives now. So even if you are a really clean eater, there's too many things in your environment that you can't control. I mean, even in this room I'm sitting in right now, the paint on the walls is toxic that we're gradually breathing in. It's unavoidable. It is what it is. So make sure you undertake some form of good detoxification. Make sure it's a good one that's been designed by a qualified practitioner. Do-it-yourself detox is not necessarily a good thing. You can do more harm than good because there's specific steps that have to happen, and you have to make sure your elimination channels are open and working so that all these toxins you start pulling out of their tidy holes actually eliminates out of the body properly. So that's a big one. Again, once you've detoxed your system, you are going to feel $1 million. And the main thing that we find in women once they detox is a dramatic change in your emotional well-being and your mood. It's like this black cloud just lifts above your head. Your energy levels are much better. You can become a lot more ability to think more quickly. And these are just, again, the general things that occur when we cleanse the gut, heal the gut, cleanse the colon, flush the liver, eradicate the infection. You're getting much better quality of life because when your system is no longer drowning in toxic waste, your mood improves, your outlook on life improves, your ability to think clearly improves, and this is when you can start to shift those black clouds over your head that are just another reason, and it's just another reason why holistically treating and targeting the cause of your endometriosis is something you can't really afford to overlook. The sixth step is to nail nutrition, nourish the body. So nutrition and diet is definitely something that leads to a bit of anxiety for a lot of people because the reality is there's so much noise out there. Everyone thinks that they're a nutritionist and is giving you advice of what you should and shouldn't do. And the reality is there's a million one ways you can approach nutrition. One diet does not fit all. You need to assess what's going on in your body and what your body needs. You need to be really okay with trialing and testing new foods and then tuning into your body and seeing how that feels, or following one specific diet plan, whether it be vegan or paleo or vegetarian or organic or whole foods, just staying away from processed food. Trial them for a few weeks, check back in. How do I feel? Oh no, I actually feel like I really need meat, or no, I feel better when I don't have meat. We're all different. There's no one person whose diet is exactly the same, and that's okay, because it can seem really, really overwhelming if you're just focusing on the fact that, I've got to cut out coffee and I've got to cut out alcohol and I've got to cut out sugar. Don't focus on that. Do one small thing every week and start with adding something in, because if we're constantly just taking things away and depleting ourselves, that's when we feel deprived. That's when we fall off the wagon. That's when we can't stick to healthy eating. So start by adding in experimenting with new types of veggies. Just pick one new veggie every week that from the fruit and veg aisle or the farmer's market that you don't normally have in your diet. And that's the best way to approach diet in the long run. Now the final step, hopefully you're all still with me, your final step is to do with immune dysfunction. It's about balancing the immune system. We kind of all think that our immune system is based purely on just fighting infections, like viruses, bacteria, fungal, yeast, whatever, but our immune system does so much more than that. So there's the allergy component to immune system. So that's all to do with, if you're consuming things that you shouldn't be, or if our immune system's triggered, it's like we start secreting all these things that we shouldn't be in response to something that your body's detecting as not being there. There's also the autoimmune process. Now, I need to explain the autoimmunity in a bit more detail, because there's this belief, again, general medical industry says that, for some reason your body just turns on itself and it starts attacking its own tissue. That's not what's actually going on. In my opinion, what is going on is that there's usually 9 times out of 10 an underlying viral infection in your system that your immune system is trying to get at, but it can't, because viruses are really, really clever. They wear shields and they protect themselves, and so your immune system's kind of throwing absolutely everything at it, and so it starts getting a bit trigger happy and just, going hell for leather trying to attack these viruses, but it's getting nowhere. And that's where our own tissue gets caught in the crossfire. So it's not that we're deliberately trying to attack our immune system, it's that your body's trying to attack something else that's going on in there. And like I said, viruses are very, very sneaky, and that's why most people, once you've got a virus, you're stuck with it for life, because it's very difficult for your immune system to eradicate virus. It can be done, but I truly believe if you want to eradicate a virus from your system, you definitely need the help of antiviral herbs and nutrients. So if you've got a virus, and it could be something as simple as you've had pneumonia, or you've had glandular fever, or shingles, or cold sores, or whatever, you should probably be on some long-term antiviral herbs like echinacea, andrographis, licorice, red clover. There's heaps more. Lots of things. Olive leaf extract, zinc, vitamin C, lysine. They're all great antiviral things. So you should be implementing something like that, because otherwise your immune system's running around like a headless chook, so to speak, constantly, and that contributes to hormonal imbalance, and that definitely contributes to your body's inability to heal itself from endometriosis. So until your immune system's right, that's absolutely going to be one of the other deciding factors as to why you're not healing from endometriosis, or why it keeps coming back after your surgery. So, to summarize, the 7 steps: cleanse the colon, eradicate infections, heal the gut, address your adrenals, love your liver and detox the system, nail nutrition, and then balance the immune system. So that is the step-by-step process, okay? These are the things that you cannot avoid. These are the things you must clear up and get working and functioning properly within your body, and then your body will start to heal the endometriosis. Now, you're going to get relief along the way, absolutely. So it's not like, it's going to take me 6 months to do all those things and then I'll finally be starting to heal. You'll definitely get results along the way. So I want to share with you now the why model. I mean, this is based on, well, why the hell would I put myself through those 7 steps? Of course, it's easier to just, I'll just go on the pill and keep skipping my periods, because that's the easiest thing to do, and I'll deal with it later. But the reality is, if you've got this stuff going on, remember, it's only going to get worse, especially if you're at a point where you've actually only just got a little bit of discomfort at the moment, but it will get worse. So we want to take you from severe pain, endometrial growth, infertility, depression, bloating, diarrhea, cysts, gas, fatigue, all those things you've got, and we want to move you, as we move through these 7-step process, over to the other side, the pleasure side. We want to come from pain to pleasure. We're going from suffering to say. We want to move you into having a regular cycle, having a healthy uterus, being pain-free, having a healthy digestive system, clear skin, being emotionally balanced, energized, with a healthy libido, and being a fertile being. That's the end goal. That's why we're doing this. That's why we put the effort in, and that's why these 7 steps is something you really need to consider. Because the first biggest problem is obviously pain. Endometriosis causes a lot of pain, okay? And terrible quality of life. Women are in and out of emergency rooms because their pain is that debilitating so often, okay? And that's not good quality of life, having to deal with excruciating pain. When you implement the steps and the process involved in a natural medicine approach to address your endometriosis, we see a dramatic improvement in the level of pain women suffer. Dramatic. Dramatic being within the first 3 months. There's generally between a 50 and 70%, sometimes up to 100% eradication, depending on how bad your symptoms are, of pain, just by implementing this process. So it's amazing results. Imagine how good that would be just to get your period every month and it'd be no big deal. Not have to, load yourself up in pain relief, or be able to leave the house because, you're so heavy. So, that quality of life is out there for you if you're open to it. The next biggest thing is, I don't think I've met a woman with period pain who doesn't also suffer from bloating or a dodgy digestive system that can be, diarrhea to constipation fluctuating. So, that's another major associated hurdle, the underlying hurdle of endometriosis and hormone imbalances is IBS or IBS-like symptoms. So, another great reason to improve your quality of life by addressing these things. And infertility, sadly, is one of the most heartbreaking outcomes of poorly managed endometriosis. And I hate that. I hate that that's the thing that, this harsh disease is dictating whether women can or can't have children. But that is where natural medicine can shine, because even if you don't believe you can eradicate your endometriosis completely, just by following those 7-step processes, there's a far greater chance that you'll be able to conceive naturally. And for that reason alone, it's absolutely worth looking into these 7 steps. My grandfather always told me, he always said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always have what you've always had. And so if your endometriosis is disrupting your life, month in and month out, you owe it to your body to try something new that because you just never know how your body's going to respond. So ask yourself right now, how are you feeling about everything I've discussed? Is it resonating? Does it still seem way too hard? Are you open to changing your approach? Are you open to using natural medicine for supporting even what you're already doing with your medications and your surgeries? And if not, what are the fears that are holding you back? Why does it seem too hard? Why do you think, oh, this won't work for me? Why won't, what are those negative things going through your head? Because we do find a lot of women with endometriosis have this deep ingrained insecurity that if they attempted the program, they'd fail. If they tried something else, it wouldn't work for them, or they wouldn't be good enough to commit to it by making the changes that they need in their lifestyle, or that they're not worthy of healing and, they deserve to suffer every month. So if any of those thoughts go through your head, if you couldn't resonate with any of those thoughts, then I highly encourage you to seek out some emotional support. Find a counsellor, or even just talking to a friend or someone, or getting in a community of other women who suffer from endometriosis. Because if you're trapped in that way of thinking, you are going to be trapped in endometriosis for a long time. The women I work with, I see those common patterns, and that's why I implement amazing techniques such as body consciousness therapy, timeline therapy, the tapping, the emotional freedom technique, and other NLP techniques to help them get in and identify those limiting beliefs and get in and change them. And that's where we start to see amazing results with their physical and emotional health. So how we actually do this, how we take you from suffering to saved, how we take you from pain, digestive distress and overwhelm right over the other side to healed and empowered, is 3 basic steps. First of all, we're clearing out the digestive system, as we already told you, and we're empowering you, we're eradicating infection, and we're energizing you. Then we're moving that second stage where we're cleansing the body, and we're not just cleansing, physically, we're cleansing your mind and your thoughts as well. We're helping your digestion, we're getting rid of the deflaming you, and we're detoxing you. And then that final stage is about creating new thoughts, creating a pregnancy if that's what you want, creating new cells, creating new healthy liver, creating new healthy gut microbiome. So it's just that step-step process, because, if you step and go, oh my God, those 7 steps are too hard, I don't know where to start. Well, you just start one step at a time, one bit by bit, and that's what you do. That's what will get you from suffering to saved. So there's those, that says those big 3 words that we always talk about: clear, cleanse, create. So ladies, if you haven't lost you, I want to take this time to just quickly introduce the Endometriosis program. It's designed to end the suffering, and it is the private mentoring program. Basically, what it involves is one-on-one private health assessments with me personally, where I would go over your health individually and go through every nook and cranny of your life and your health and find out, well, what are the things of those 7 steps that are going on in your body? What do we need to clear out specifically? What's the best, most direct treatment protocol for you? You get unlimited daily text and email support. You have access to the Balance Me Healing supplement system. So that's all the supplements you need to undergo those 7-step processes that we've just talked about. You get access to the Balance Me online education membership, where you log on and listen to live videos and read all the information, which just expands on everything I've already talked about. It tells you the when, why, how, and who, so that you know exactly what you're doing. You also get the training webinars, which goes into a lot more detail about the actual diets to follow for endometriosis, and how to detox your liver, how to manage it, pain relieving things, all that stuff. You get unlimited emergency calls. So basically, there's absolutely no way you can't heal your body of endometriosis with this, because you can talk to me every single day if you need to. I will hold your hand through every step of the process. You can send me a text message when you're in the supermarket reading labels going, well, am I allowed to eat this? Or you can call me when you get out of an appointment with your specialist who's, recommended a new drug or a new approach for you, and we can chat things over together. So it's a pretty incredible program. I put my heart and soul into it because anyone who enters the program, there's no such thing as failure. We're going to heal you, whether it takes 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. We're going to heal you, and that's my promise to you. So that's pretty cool. And there's some bonuses associated that I absolutely love, and I don't know, it's really crude. Mad at me for calling it the piss off period pain package, but it just, how annoying is period pain? How much do you just want to swear when you've got period pain? So I thought it was a really fitting name. So what you get with this is an actual machine based on low light therapy and infrared technology. So this was designed by NASA. It's scientifically proven. It's a little machine, a pad actually, an electrical pad that you wear on your uterus, and it stimulates healing. It stimulates the relief of white blood cells. Forget TENS machines. It's 10,000 times more powerful than a TENS machine. It provides very immediate pain relief, but it's also stimulating that blood flow to actually heal and start breaking down your cysts and your endometrial tissue. Also part of that package, you're getting 3 months worth of anti-inflammatory, pain-relieving analgesic herbal medicines, and also getting an essential oil formula to massage into your uterus daily as well. You get the private Facebook support group, because we know women thrive among other women, sharing your story, bouncing off ideas, venting if you need to, but lifting each other up in that private group. And then the third bonus you get is a free bowel cleansing kit, which includes an enema kit, because I thought if I throw that in for free, you might be more likely to experiment with it, because I know it freaks out a lot of people doing enemas, but it is the fastest way to cleanse out that bowel and start the weight loss process and just get that healing happening. So pretty incredible bonuses, and most women sort of say that the bonuses were unbelievable, and they were the difference between, them getting that instant relief with their pain. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other option, if you didn't want to do a one-on-one mentored program, you can do that whole step-by-step 7-step program yourself. You do it in the comfort of your own home. When you take on the Balance Me program, you basically get all the supplements you need to carry out those 7 steps. So the antimicrobial herbs to kill the infections, the bowel cleansing herbs, the liver detox herbs, everything we need, the probiotic formula specific for endometriosis. You get all that stuff in there as part of the package, as well as you get access to log on to the online membership protocol to watch the videos, read the protocols. You get access to the treatment protocols. So, because you may not have endometriosis specifically, you may have PCOS or fibroids, or you might get migraines, or all that stuff. So there's treatment protocols for all the other things that are associated with common hormonal imbalances. And yeah, you get eating plans, healthy action procedures, weekly accountability emails. So again, that's another amazing, really easy step-by-step do-it-yourself program. You may feel like you might already be not in a really dire situation with your endometriosis, and you think you can step yourself through that properly. There are bonuses, and that includes the VIP Facebook support group. So of course you have access to talk to your mentor, as in me. If you're just doing the do-it-yourself program, you can still ask questions daily, and I'm always going to get in there and answer them really, really frequently too. Now, the other thing that's really cool, because you're not working with me one-on-one with this one and having those one-on-one sessions where we're doing hypnosis therapy or EFT and getting in and changing your thought processes, we have included a hormone healing meditation. So that's just something you can listen to on your phone overnight time when you're going to sleep, and that really gets in and reprograms those subconscious thoughts. So it's pretty powerful too. So don't ever underestimate the power of positive thinking and changing those beliefs, because you can't overlook it. And then also we've thrown in an extra bonus, which is the Balance Babes exercise program, which is just basically an exercise program. We do find a lot of women who have a hormonal imbalance unfortunately put on weight as well, so that's often a nice handy bonus to be able to lose some weight through the program as well. So just to quickly stress, this program is not for someone who doesn't want to get better. If you don't want to change your mindset, if you don't want to take a new approach, if you're anti-natural therapies, this program's not going to be for you, because this program, I have hand on my heart and absolutely no doubt in my mind that it will heal you and it will change your life and it will improve you. But it still comes down to you and you actually giving it a go and believing that it can work for you and actually implementing the changes. So you still it is a program that involves you working in terms of, making some changes and getting in and doing the work. But if you do the work, I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that you will definitely be able to overcome your hormonal imbalances. So the last question for you, how do you want to live the rest of your life? Now, my purpose for sharing this information was to inspire and empower you and educate you and remind you that it's your body that you live in, and it's your responsibility to take care of it and treat it however feels right for you. I wanted to present you with all this information to try and give you back this power and give you options that you don't have to settle for. There is no cure for endometriosis. You control your destiny, okay? You control that by your healthy thoughts, by your beliefs, and by the choices you make every single day, okay? It's in your hands. So if it's a life of adventure, freedom, travel, fertility, family planning that you want for yourself, then make sure you make that happen. Don't let your diagnosis define you, and don't let it rule your life. So, if it does interest you in any way to join the program, absolutely, you're very welcome to. You can find out more information at balancedbabes.com.au or balancedbabes.net. And there you'll just find out more information about the program, so that's pretty cool. If you want to ask me more questions specifically, what I would recommend is booking a scheduling call with me. So you can book this directly, just jump on this link now and book yourself a time by going to Calendly, and that's CALENDLY, calendly.com/balancebabes, and you can book yourself a little point. And we'll just have a chat, and you can tell me your story, and I can say, yep, no worries, we can fix this, or I can, we're going to work out a plan for you. So you have those options, ladies. And look, I hope that this has been informative. If you're feeling drawn to work with me, that's awesome. That's absolutely fine. If you would just wanted to listen in to learn, you're not ready to take action yet, you just want to test the waters, that's completely okay too. Thank you for joining us today. I truly hope that you found the information useful and inspiring, and I hope you enjoy being a part of the Balanced Babes tribe. I'm constantly offering free mini health challenges, informative blogs, and other fun materials, so please invite as many of your friends and family members to join as possible. And that's not just women with endometriosis, it's women who have any sort of hormonal imbalance going on, or women who just want to empower themselves and learn about the health and learn what they can do to prevent things like breast cancer and other horrible autoimmune diseases, because unfortunately those two things they're massively on the rise. It feels like everywhere we turn, more and more women are being diagnosed. So, the Balanced Babes mission is to empower as many women as possible to take a stand for their health so that they can truly live a free, happy, healthy life. So, I hope that's been what you wanted, and let's just see what we're doing. I'm just going to change the screen, sorry about that, there, and just wanted to give you the opportunity, like I said, to ask me some questions now. I will be hanging around, so you can type some questions in the chat box, and we can go from there.